in doubt, check it out. This is slightly off of the we can access thing. It's still under the theme of economics, accessibility, inclusion, making the world a better place. And it's a personal request. This is actually a really personal story, but it's more something I want to do before I go to sleep. Um, if you have a letter from a doctor for a blood test or for an eye appointment, don't ignore it. Go. And I'll tell you the reason why. Yesterday I got a message from the optician, and I thought, can't be bothered to go really. It's a normal appointment once a year. And the things are getting expensive in England. Money's getting tighter for everybody. I think it was yesterday or a couple of days ago, heating bills went up, and other bits and pieces, cost of living. So basically every penny counts. And we're not financially, we're okay, we're getting by, but every penny counts. And if you're in the States, you'd have seen the cost of living going up. I think I read in the news, energy prices, something to do with issues with the war with Ukraine and Russia. If you're in Eastern or Central Europe, your energy prices are going up. So everybody's got to really watch what's going on. But don't miss an eye appointment. And I'll tell you the reason why. I thought of missing one just to save maybe, I think, 30 or 40 pounds. I don't know what the cost is. But then I remembered. Back in, oh, crikey, must have been in 15, 20 years ago or so. I've lost, again, I lose track of time. I went for a routine eye appointment just to get my eyes checked up. I wear glasses, check, and I thought nothing of it. Go along, get my eyes tested. Might have to buy a new set of glasses. But it didn't turn out to be a routine eye test. What it actually happened was that they test for the eyes. And then in England, I don't know how it goes in the rest of the world. I'd love to hear from you. They also do pressure tests, and they also check the quality of your eye, what's going on in the back of your eye. Because I'm a lay person here. I don't know this. They can check for brain tumors, issues going on in your skull or something along those lines. Lots of things that they do. Anyway, the pressure tests is when they go along and they go for the air that goes in, and feels a bit uncomfortable. And they turned around to me and said, "Your pressures are high." What do I know? Blood pressure up slightly. That's what I feel. They turned around to me and said, "But your pressures are up." And it's like, okay, fine. They said, "We need to refer you to an eye specialist, an eye hospital." And I was like going, "What's that? Should I be worried?" And there wasn't anything unduly, they didn't tell me anything about it, but I thought nothing about it. I wrote my lifestyle at the time was being married, I think, maybe a couple of kids, young kids, and I rode a motorcycle, worked as a teacher. Wasn't particularly fussed about it. Then I went along for the appointment, and the appointment came a lot quicker than I'd expected. So I was like, start to go, what's wrong? Also, thank you very much for staying with me for the past 4 minutes, but there's a point to this. And it's about what can go wrong and what you should check with. So I went along to the eye hospital. They checked it up, didn't have to pay for it. It's the NHS, thankfully. And it wasn't too long at the time because the waiting lists weren't too long. Turns out I had high pressures, and I had something called fast onset glaucoma. Heard of glaucoma? I think it's an erosion of the eye or a problem with the quality of the eye over a period of time. Faster onset glaucoma is a slightly different. And what that means is, again, I might have got this wrong, but it's you could turn blind within 24 to 48 hours if things change. If you start getting headaches, if you start seeing certain things, and I'll put a link in below to what fast onset the symptoms or for fast onset glaucoma is. And you can turn blind within, I think it's 24 hours if these symptoms come on. I'm like going, oh, little scared on that one. Can I have an operation? They said, well, it's not an urgent thing. It's, you're living in London. you can get to an eye hospital. So just be mindful of your headaches. You got to come in for once a year, yearly checkups. And I'm like going, this is interesting. People talk about visible and hidden disabilities. That was a real hidden disability, and I was living with it 24/7. And it's like, is this headache fast onset glaucoma? I don't suffer from headaches. I don't get headaches that often, but every time I started seeing certain things, I was like, going, is it fast onset glaucoma? Am I going to turn blind? My life changed then. And the reason why my life changed is because they'd given me warnings. I had to be within 24 hours of an eye hospital. At the time, I wasn't scuba diving, but I'd certainly recently done scuba diving, and my wife and I were talking about going on holiday, taking the kids away to somewhere so we could do some scuba diving. That went out the window because I had to be within 24 hours of being able to get to a eye hospital. And wherever we went, I had to know where the eye hospitals were. Going away, I had to be aware of where the hospitals were. So my whole life transformed because of fast onset glaucoma. And this went on for a few years, and I was wondering, can I get an eye test? Can I have an operation? I asked a few years later, and the operation was lovely. It was simple, and all it is, it sounds pretty yucky. It's laser treatment. It's like they put holes in your eye, and I've got a couple of holes in my eyes, and that then allows drainage for the fluids. If the pressures build up, that's not a problem. And that's fine. And then I was going for checkups on a regular basis. But it transformed my life. And it transformed the way I thought. I used to ride a motorcycle, and I was like going, should I ride a motorcycle? What's happening? What happens if I get headaches? The thing is, and this is where it's a call to action for anybody. Cost of living for most people, things are getting expensive. We've got to mind our budgets. We've got to be, everybody's got to be, just watching where you're spending your money. And I got an appointment for an eye test yesterday, and I thought, do you know what? I've been signed off. I don't have fast onset glaucoma now. It's fine. It's all sorted. It's done because of the operation, and I got checked out. But I thought, do you know what? Should I go for that eye test? Should I spend the money for that checkup? And I've realised, how much is my sight worth? How much is my health worth? Because for eye tests, and this is where it comes down to the call to action, don't ignore routine eye tests. Simply don't ignore them. Because certainly in England, and I presume in the States and other countries, with the tests that they are required to do, they can check for other conditions that you might have. Don't ignore going for blood tests. They might pick stuff up. Our daughter, and I will finish on this, our daughter had a brain tumour, and they only caught it roughly 12 hours before she was going to die. We asked, we thought. We asked different doctors, and they dismissed it until we insisted. We'd seen a pediatrician a couple of times over a period of a few months. And finally they went, they gave her a scan, and they found the tumour, and everything was down to the tumour and the blockage of fluids because the tumour had caused that. If in doubt, check it out. Check and get to the heart of the problem, because it's your body. You know what's going on with your body. You understand things. And if things are going wrong, you don't want to miss anything. And the costs, and this is where the weekend access comes in, where the costs can escalate to such an extent that actually they cost you far more money than the initial investment. It's cheaper in the short term to get checked out to avoid the longer term consequences. So It was a slight distraction to the we can access stuff, but if in doubt, check it out. Go for an eye test if you get called for one, because of what they can do. Thank you very much for your time. And honestly, thank you very much for listening.